Hello, everybody. My name is Crystal Delahue, and I'm back with another review. Today, I'll be reviewing Soul of a Nation presents Screen Queens Rising. This hour documentary slash special really informs me a lot about Hollywood and the disparities that Black actresses go through opposed to other races. So the special starts off with Halle Berry. And it begs to question, is there an Oscar curse? It starts off with Halle Berry saying how she got into the business, her first TV show, how she was a model, and how Hollywood kept just always calling her beautiful, which she actually takes offense to because she likes, one of the things she said is like, I hate hearing, oh, you're so beautiful. She's like, well, thank you. But could you say like, I'm a great mother, I'm a great actress, I'm a great, just all these other things, director, producer, all of these other things instead of just relying on her beauty. She's someone that didn't like that stereotype that she's had. So that's kind of how her career started. So then they transition into Monsters Ball. And to most people, they asked the question of why, like Jadakiss had that song, Why? And he mentions, why did, she get the Oscar because she let a white man, what? But it's like, for me, I look at it a little bit different. I feel like she got the Oscar because for the first time since losing Isaiah, she didn't have to be the pretty girl. She wasn't the girl next door. She was just an average woman. She was going through it, honey. Mother had lost everything within the first 15 minutes of the film. She lost her husband, is soon to, electrocution by the state soon as the film started. She lost her car, the radiator that clearly was overheating every day, and it finally just gave out on sis. She had to walk to work every day with her son, and nobody offered sis a ride. Then she loses her son to a car accident. He got, mowed down. And it's like, she lost everything. Letitia lost everything in that movie. But she still had this perseverance. She still kept going. To anyone else, it's like, all right, that's it for me. But she kept going. And I honestly think that's why she got the Oscar, not because it was risque or she had to get nude or anything like that. I was just simply looking at it from an artistic perspective of, it was the first time we had honestly seen Holly strip off everything, literally. Her makeup, she wore some little ratty clothes the whole movie. She wasn't beat to the gods, her hair wasn't done. Like, she had to really rely on her talent. And she got the Oscar. But the most interesting thing is, which I didn't realize until I watched this documentary, she's the only. She is the only Black woman to win best actress, basically, at the Oscars. And it's been 20 years. The Oscars have been around for how long? And it took all the way until 2002 for her to win. And then we're 20 years later, and she's still the only one. She is on that mountaintop alone. And she was just saying how disappointed she is in that. She doesn't want to be the only one. Some people do. Some people like to be selfish, and they're like, if I'm the only, that means I'm the cream of the crop. Holly thinks of it differently. She's like, it's been so many women before and after her that have done great performances. She should not be the only one up there on that mountaintop alone, but she is. She even mentioned last year that she thought that was the year she would have some company because you had Viola Davis up there for August Wilson's film, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and then you had Andrea Day for the United States versus Billie Holiday, which I think she should have won. I watched that movie, I believe, twice, and the amount of work that Andrea Day, for that to be, first of all, her first role on screen, she had to get a dialect coach to speak like Billie Holiday and to also sing like her. And Andrea Day, if you know her music, she sounds nothing like, that's a hard thing to transform into someone else. And she did it physically too. She lost all this weight to become this woman. So she committed physically, emotionally, and vocally. And she walks home with nothing. You give her the Golden Globe, but you don't give her the Oscar. Like, what are we doing? That was the perfect year to let Halle Berry have some company. And this is no slight to the woman that won, no slight at all. I'm just saying, I agree with Halle that those two performances were some of the strongest of all year. And Andrea Day, to me, was an outlier. That performance in the United States of Billie Holiday goes down in history, period. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's not an easy watch because it's a lot of triggering things in there, but it's an important story. And I learned a lot about Billie Holiday that I didn't know. Number one, that the government basically hunted her type of thing. I didn't know that. I really just thought she had passed from her addiction demons, but it was deeper than that. And Andrea Day perfectly played that woman, perfectly, like no other woman to me. I know Diana Ross did it in Lady Sings the Blues, wonderful. But Andrea Day did something very different and it was monumental. And for her to not get the gold last year, it was shocking. Well, I wasn't shocked, but I was just like, wow, really? Okay. And I'm glad I wasn't the only one because Halle felt the same way. And she's in that world. So she knows her peers in their work. It's been tons of women before her that she shouldn't have been the first. We can go down the list, honey. So her just telling that story about how she's the only one and it hurts her feelings. And then even though she still got the gold, right? In 2002, the Brinks truck still didn't pull up to her house the next day. She was saying the offers still weren't there. I remember Monique talking about this when she won for Precious. The offers came in lower. She said the offers came in lower than before she got the gold. What? Does that happen to other people or is it just Black women? I need to know. And why? What is the reasoning? Like, I want to know from whoever's sending these offers in, these studios, if you see this woman, so now this is the resume, right? It's just like you go for a regular job or whatever. You see all of the accolades of their work. And you say, now they have the Oscar, which is the mountaintop, right? It's the mountaintop in Hollywood. Everyone, in Broadway it's the Tonys, in music it's the Grammys, and acting is the Oscar. Everybody wants one. That's what it is. And when you get it, you should get more money. But the Black woman doesn't, and I don't understand why. I think Monique was the first person to actually talk about it, and then Halle Berry was like, she right. And then this special confirmed it. The Brinks truck didn't come up and say, yo, what you want this $50 million in? 20 million in 20s? 10 million in 10? Like, no. And what is the reason? She just did all of this work. Even before Monsters Ball, Halle Berry did all of these years of work. She finally got the gold. And then her offers, like, she still wasn't even there. And she didn't even, I think she said maybe a year or so, she didn't even work. Why? I don't get it. Somebody make it, like, that doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Because in any other field, if you're doing great, and you're supposed to move up the ladder. I don't understand. And that should come with some pay. But not in Hollywood. And I don't understand that. I really don't. And I need for somebody to explain that to me. That this woman works her whole life to get to this moment. She gets it. And then she gets nothing for a year or two. Or the stuff you offer is lower than what she took before she got the gold. So what is the point of the gold? Should we aspire to that anymore? If the offers ain't going to be there, If they're not going to be there, why should we aspire to that gold trophy anymore? But that's why I think Monique had said a long while ago, stop asking her about how did it feel to win the Oscar. She said, ask me about the Image Award, because that's when she really felt the proudest, because that's her peers. Her peers thought she was the best actress that year. And I was like, wow, she has a point. She has a point. But I think we should want it all. If you work hard, you deserve the reward and the money, and not a penny less, period. And if I have the gold, I want twice as much, period. It just makes sense. Then she talks about Bruised and how she had to fight for that, because originally they wanted a white woman to play the MMA fighter. And then the director she had talked to, nobody had the same vision she had to, so she had to step behind the camera too. So to act in it, do fight choreography, go through your own leg, because she really got beat up, and to stand behind the camera and still to direct these other great actors, like she hasn't gotten much recognition so far. I think the NAACP has honored her with a nomination this year, but she deserves something for that. But I think going forward, she's just like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm just here to create and to offer other opportunities to my fellow Black people. And I love that. I love that. And I love Bruce. I really did. I thought it was a good film. She's better than me because nobody's going to kick me for real. But, you know, that's the artist. So this whole segment is about the Oscars and things like that. So the next segment is the Hattie McDaniels. And they talk about how she's the first Black woman to win one, period. And for Gone with the Wind as supporting actress. But then they talk about, let's talk about the real thing. Because there was a tweet that went out by the Academy, oh, Hattie McDaniel praising her. And someone retweeted it and quoted and said, let's tell the real story. How Hattie McDaniel had to go through the back door. She could not sit with her peers. And she had to give her speech on a separate stage in a smaller room. But she still did it with grace and honor, because that's just who we are as Black women. No matter how bad you treat us, we're still going to show up. We're going to be present. We're going to be beat. And we're going to give you grace. We're not going to throw a tantrum. Then the next one, they talk about Dorothy Dandridge, right? She got nominated for Best Lead Actress for Carmen Jones. And I remember that opera so good. Me and my mother used to watch when I was little. And I was like, man, everybody in here is just beautiful. That film was full of beautiful Black people. But of course, she didn't win. She got nominated. You should just be happy to be nominated. She didn't win. Then Diane Carroll, another legend. Love her. She was nominated, didn't win. But she changed television. She changed television. Dynasty, her being a lead on a primetime television show, changed television. Without Diane Carroll, we never would have gotten Scandal, ever. Because it had been 40 years between the two, between Dynasty and Scandal. So we thank all of our trailblazing women for paving the way for the Hollybarrys, for our Kerry Washingtons, for all of them. But there should not still be only one at the mountaintop. They talk about Whoopi Goldberg next and Color Purple. That's where we met her. That's where we met Whoopi. We met her at Celie, right? She'll always be my Dolores Van Cartier, because Sister Act is just, is undefeated, right? But they were talking about Ghost and how Ghost changed, her wonderful role in that, and how she did get her gold. She got supporting actress for Ghost, but she worked in that movie. Imagine being in a movie, you got to act like you're talking to someone, but they're not really there. Patrick Swayze was in there for some scenes, but a lot of them he wasn't. Like, that's amazing. Amazing. Like we work so hard. We have to do all this monumental stuff just to get recognition. But she won that year, and that's awesome. But then they transitioned to the snub. And this wonderful gentleman on there, I'm so sorry, his name is escaping me. He brought up Angela Bassett. 1993. Y'all know the movie. It's on BT a lot. I have it on DVD still. Yeah, I still have DVDs. What's Love Got to Do with It? Period. Top 5 movie of all time. I don't care what you say. It's definitely top 5 biopic. Definitely. She was so snubbed and robbed at the 93 Oscars. I don't care what anyone says. I'll die on that hill. I'll scream it from the mountaintop. When I'm 90, I'll still be saying, Angela should have won. In 93. She knows she should have won. On the Breakfast Club, they asked her, like, do you know who won? She was like, I still remember who won. She says it gracefully, but it's like, I know that still stings in her because she worked so hard. There's a YouTube mini documentary on there with her and Tina Turner about how Tina taught her to dance. She had to dance. She had to learn to sing because some of that she was not singing over Tina's dubs. I think Shake a Tail Feather, that was Angela singing. So imagine you got to sing like Tina, you got to dance like Tina, and you got to fight Ike Turner for 2 hours. But she couldn't even get the gold. You give her a knob, but you don't give her a gold. That is a huge snub to me, and I'll never get over it. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not even Angela. I can only imagine how she is. I'm like, what do we have to do to give Angela the gold? I feel like years later, they're going to try to give her a makeup Oscar or something. Like she's going to do something very artsy because, you know, the Oscars love like artsy stuff. Like if a film is shot in one take, or it's about environmental stuff, or about saving a panda. I don't know. But if Angela gets an Oscar for being a beekeeper in a couple years, just say I said it first. I feel it. It's going to happen. She deserves it, but it's going to be the makeup Oscar that should have happened in 1993. She's doing great things on 911. I'm so happy for her, but I want Angela on that stage. She deserves it. And I think that whole room would stand in unison, because if anyone deserves to be next to Halle Berry on that mountaintop, it's our queen, Angela Bassett. Period. End of story. So then they transition into television, and they talk about a different world, which was monumental and changed a lot of my friends' lives. They wanted to go to HBCUs because of this show. First time I had saw Black college kids having fun, but also going through life. They tackled a lot of issues, but hid it in some humor. I think Tracy Ellis Ross says it best when she's referring to Blackish, how they discuss all of these very social commentary topics, but they put humor in it so it's easier to digest, so it doesn't just feel like someone is preaching to you. That's what Different World did. It talked about domestic violence. It talked about political issues, the N-word, AIDS, you know, but it was all with grace and love and humor. So we were able to digest it and become better people. I didn't go to a HBCU, but that show definitely made it like, man, should I have went? I still look at the shows today and I'm like, not regrets, because I don't regret where I went, but I'm like, maybe I should have went to a HBCU. Like, it just looks so fun. Like, you don't have to explain your vernacular or who you are to people. Like, everyone around you is just dope, and the culture is thick, and it's just wonderful. I don't know, but that show definitely changed. And shout out to Debbie Allen, because before she signed on, Hillman was not what it was in season 2. There's a huge difference between, if you see season 1 and season 2, season 1 was PWI, Public White Institution. It was not, it had some white characters in there that were, you know, heavy storylines, everything with Jaleesa. But season 2, it transitioned And it became more about us and our issues and our joy and our everything. Shout out to Debbie Allen, and she is a legend. And we will never, ever take your gift for granted of how you changed a different world. Thank you so much, Debbie Allen. So here's the next thing that the tearjerker comes. We've all been hearing about The Color Purple and the remake, and however you feel about it, I have my own personal feelings, like just leave things alone. I don't like remakes. I don't like reboots. But something about this is different. We all know the original Color Purple, as I stated before, is legendary. It was Whoopi Goldberg as Celie. You had Miss Sophia by Oprah, of course, and Suge Avery was Margaret Avery, and Danny Glover is Mr. It's just like, can you get any more iconic? No, you can't. But what you can do is take some Broadway people, bring them onto film, and have the younger generation appreciate Color Purple musical in a film version, right? So kind of how they did the Dreamgirls, they brought it to film, and then all these people think, you know, Effie is Jennifer Hudson, and Beyonce was Dina Jones, and Anika Noni Rose was, you know, the third Dream Girl. So, which is Lorraine, and it was monumental because it did bring. I remember seeing it in a theater because I knew of Dreamgirls, the Broadway show, but I wasn't as involved at the time, so I was just amazed. So now I think for the newer people, if you don't know the original Color Purple, you can watch the musical film and be like, oh, and then go back and see the original. So Oprah surprises Danielle Brooks. Danielle Brooks is from Orange is the New Black. She played Tasty. She played Mahalia Jackson recently. And she was in the revival of Color Purple on Broadway. She played Sophia and did a magnificent job. The woman can sing her face off. She's really good. She went to Juilliard, like, so she's trained. It's like, it's trained and then it's trained. She's super trained. So she's gonna do great. And then Fantasia is going to be Celie. Fantasia replaced LaShawne's in the original Broadway cast. And from what I hear, she did a wonderful job. I've never seen it. I've seen some clips on YouTube, but they said she did a really, really good job. Like, she made her Celie very vulnerable and just wonderful. So I'm excited to see this. Taraji is going to be Suge Avery. Her is going to be Squeak. Coleman Domingo is going to be Mr., and he is going to kill it. Coleman Domingo is always, like, he's already one of my favorite actors, but like him as Mr., I can't wait to see his version of Mr. It's going to be so great, I think. I'm interested in, I'm going to be watching this. I don't know how it's going to be released, but I'd love to see this in theaters just to hear. One thing about Color Purple, that music is undefeated. That music, especially the Broadway version, there is not a bad song on those. If you ever have time, look up the Color Purple Broadway like musical soundtrack. That music is some of the best, and it's not easy. So God bless everyone. Everyone. My favorite is Push the Button. When Suge Avery gets in the juke joint and does her thing, I love it. It'll be I really hope they put that in the film version because it's Suge Avery's like moment. She's like, just it's wonderful. It's beautiful on stage, but I want to see that on film. And anything, of course, that Celie sings. I mean, we know I'm Here. Like, who don't? I swear, every musical theater person tried to sing I'm Here. It's wonderful. But I'm happy for them. I'm happy that Oprah's involved, so I don't think she'll stamp anything that won't be of, you know, of good caliber. So I think she's gonna she's going to be heavily involved and make sure that they pay tribute and do it right. So congratulations to all. The next segment is Tessa Thompson's segment. They talk about her career, how we met her in For Color Girls. The interviewer asked her a very interesting question about, would she ever play a slave or a maid? And Tessa's response says, can we tell an old story in a new way? And what I interpreted that to be is, I would do it if it's done in a new way. We've seen maids and slaves, like we've seen it, and we've seen it done well, right? I mean, Hattie McDaniel, like Gone with the Wind, like what are you know what I'm saying? Like we've seen it done well, but that's been told. Can we do it a different way? Now, this is 2022. And I'm with her on that. No one is interested. I shouldn't say no one. I'll speak for me. I'm no longer interested in seeing that anymore. And I'm not saying I always want to see happy stuff. No, because that's not fun either. You have to have a conflict or some type of thing. But Black trauma, I'm no longer interested unless it's done in a new way. If it's done in an informative way, or it's just well done, no problem. But the same old like slave and masses beating me, it's like, all right, okay, we've seen that about 20 times now. Can he escape? Can he revolt? That's what I want to see. I want to see the revolt. I want to see, you know what I'm saying? I want to see those type of stories. So I agree with Tessa on that. And I love that she's doing all types of stuff. They said she's very diverse and multifaceted. Like she's playing superheroes, she'll play a scientist, she'll play whatever. Recently she was in Passing. I saw parts of it. I haven't finished it yet, but that's the type of stuff. It's like historical stuff, but make it today. Like even though we're back then, but it's like, I could relate, or some, you know what I'm saying? Like just, it's informative. Well done. And then the last segment of the special was called In the Kitchen, hosted by Sunny Hostin from The View. And she's sitting down with Marsai Martin and Robbie Reed and Carla Farmer and Alana Mayo. And that segment was more about Black joy than trauma. All of them have their own perspectives from different parts of Hollywood. Marsai Martin is an actress, from Blackish, the youngest producer ever. She was 14 when she produced Little, which I adored. It was such a cute movie with her and Regina Hall. Robbie Reed is a casting agent. I didn't know that Eddie Murphy is the man that stood up for her and wanted her to cast Harlem Nights. Like that was casted by Robbie Reed. Like, I thought I knew Harlem Nights, that's a cast and a movie. And no one, I felt like, tried to outshine each other in there. You had all these great comedians, Red Fox and Della Reese and Richard Pryor, just all these great people, but she casted. I'm like, wow, she's amazing. Then you have Carla Farmer, who's over hair, DP over hair, and she did recently Coming to America 2, which was beautifully shot and done. Everybody looked so regal and beautiful in there. And then Alana Mayo, which 37 years old, and she is president of MGM Studios. What? I didn't know. I honestly thought Tyler Perry was the only Black person that was over a studio. I know it's his own studio, but I didn't know Alana Mayo's a Black woman, and at only 37, she is president of she could sign the check. She pushes the button. That's powerful. And Sunny was asking her about that. Like, now you can fund people like Marsai Martin, who says, I don't want Black trauma in my productions. And I love that for her. There are so many other stories to tell. You can go to Alana now and say, hey, What do you think about this? Will your studio support this? And she has the power to say yay or nay at 37. What? Like, that type of stuff is so inspiring to me as an actor, creator, just want to be in that world. Like, that's so inspiring that it can be done. As they say, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. It can be done. We can do more and better, but I celebrate that win. That's powerful because I didn't know that. That woman is 37 and over. She's a studio head. Black and a woman. Let that sink in. So once again, this documentary, so informative. If you are aspiring to be a creator or actor, actress, producer, director, whatever you do, I highly recommend watching this documentary. Right now it's on Hulu. It's only an hour long, and you'll learn a lot within that hour. They interview a lot of our favorites, a lot of our legends and our queens, and you'll learn a lot about yourself, about the business, and you'll be inspired like I am. So once again, I am Crystal Delahue. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and drop your comments below. Bye, y'all. Love you.